Look into my eyes. When you see me on a show, when you see these fans, you know you've got the best in the damn world.
This is the Wrestling Matters podcast, where we stand up for professional wrestling.
Here we fucking go!
Welcome everyone to episode 170 of the Wrestling Matters podcast. My name is Anthony Walker. Hope you guys are well and whatever it is you are doing. On today's show, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do things a little bit different. Today, I've got a top 10 King of the Ring 1997 fascinating facts. Actually, let me rephrase that, 1996 fascinating facts. I do apologise for that. Some you know, some you won't, but I'm going to go through them later on. As a matter of fact, in just a moment. Also, I've got Raw and Smackdown review as well. Plus, ROH Best in the World, Ring of Honor Best in the World review as well to come later on in this podcast as well. It's going to be a little bit different than normal. Same old wrestle talk, if you will. This episode is also on the Wrestling Matters channel, AJW Wrestling Matters. Check us out on SoundCloud as well. Check us out on Radio Big World. Look them up on SoundCloud too. For more information on the Wrestling Matters podcast, go to facebook.com/WM Podcast, at WM Podcast on Twitter. TSC Wrestling Mag. They had a competition out this week to get their new edition of their magazine, which wasn't out until June the 30th, and I entered the competition and I won. And I've got mine magazine. It is a digital magazine. If you want more information on that, at TSC Wrestling Mag on Twitter. For more information on that, I got my magazine. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. I'm looking forward to reading it, and I will do ASAP. If you want to be a part of this as well, if you want your subscription, go to their Twitter page at TSC Wrestling Mag. Also, be sure to look out for Talk Brunch as well, each and every Monday, and whenever they can. Facebook.com/Talk Brunch, also at Talk Brunch on Twitter. Now, 10 fascinating facts about the King of the Ring 1996. This should be very interesting. Number 10, you probably already know about this. You probably already have heard about this as well. Triple H was meant to win the tournament. The reason why he didn't was because of the MSG curtain call, even. That's to come later, the Montreal Screwjob as well. I'll talk about that a little bit later on with somebody. But the MSG curtain call with the Click, because Kevin Nash and Scott Hall were going to WCW. That basically was the downfall for Triple H at that point in time, because Vince McMahon couldn't punish Shawn Michaels because he was the champion, and he couldn't punish Kevin Nash or Scott Hall because they ended up going to WCW. So who was left? Triple H. And credit to Triple H, though, he, in the words of Vince McMahon, ate shit and liked the taste of it. And he worked his way up, and he worked his way back up to the spot that he was at before that incident. 1 year later, what was meant to happen in 96 happened in 97, and he ended up winning King of the Ring. 1.5, maybe 2 months later, he won the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam in August. So it worked out well for him, and you can't deny the fact that he earned it. You can't deny it. The Stone Cold Stunner was born. This was during a qualifying match between Stone Cold Steve Austin, ringmaster, whatever you want to call him, Stone Cold, and Savio Vega. Now, he developed this finishing move because if you go back and watch the match, which was on an episode of Raw, he grabs Savio Vega by the head and puts his head on the shoulder where he's supposed to do the stunner, and then drops. It's like a sit-down ace crusher. He had to start from scratch with it to develop it into the point where he ends up kicking people and then stunners them. Because it's not easy to do. I've done the stunner before. And it's not really that easy to do. You know, it's better in a way if you grab somebody by the head and then just sit down on them like he does, instead of just kicking them and stunning them. It's actually better in the way that he did it in this match with Savio Vega, because it adds more impact to the move. But that was him giving birth to a move that changed the business, and not only changed the business, changed him too. Austin went to hospital during the show. He had a grueling match to kick off the show, to kick off the pay-per-view, with Mark Merrill, and beat him. But he had to go to hospital to get 16 stitches in. And funnily enough, he came back to wrestle Jake Roberts in the final and win the tournament. So it's tough, man. I mean, I'm amazed. When I first saw this, I was amazed that he actually got from the... They actually went to the hospital, got the stitches, and came back the way he did. I was amazed that actually happened. But more on that little bit later on in more depth. And like I said, it was Mark Merrill did lose this match, and it was his first television loss. But the guy at that point got an actually great push as well, man. No question about it. I mean, I think at one point he ended up being the Intercontinental Champion. So that was, at the time, the only loss he had at that point, at least. But, yeah, man, I mean, the guy was getting pushed to the moon. There's no question about that. No question about it. And obviously, the idea at the time, considering it was meant for Triple H, was for Stone Cold to win the King of the Ring. So he had no choice but to put Steve Austin over. And I think they had a little bit of a feud at that point as well. But it was a great match to kick off the show. Warrior worked that show, and he ended up getting into a feud with Jerry Lawler, but he only beat Jerry Lawler in 4 minutes. And the reason why he beat him in 4 minutes was because he had a shoulder injury. He worked through an injury in that matchup as well. So he was known that year for doing a lot of that stuff, to be honest with you. I mean, take the WrestleMania match as well. Take the WrestleMania match with him and Triple H. I mean, he beat Triple H in 2 minutes, somewhere around about that as well. And that King of the Ring was also Warrior's last pay-per-view match, because I think at that point, 3 months later, or building up towards 3 months later before Warrior left, that was the blow-off that they had, which ended up having them falling out, because I think Vince, it was all of the character, the Warrior character, and that's why they ended up having the blowout. And I think at one point, Warrior sued them for the name, and he ended up calling himself Warrior at that point as well. And that was the big fallout that him and Vince McMahon very much had, which thankfully they reconciled before his death when he ended up going in the Hall of Fame. So at least there was something positive out of that in a way. Ahmed Johnson did not want to be kissed. Now, Ahmed Johnson won the Intercontinental Championship in this pay-per-view. He had a feud with Goldust leading into this pay-per-view, where he ended up getting the belt from Goldust. And it was a very awkward angle, because the idea was for Goldust to kiss Ahmed Johnson. The clip was, they had him out on the gurney. I think they were going to take him to the hospital. And basically Goldust just came over and grabbed him by the face and kissed him. Now, Ahmed was 100% behind not doing this at all. He hated this. He did not want to do this at all, and who can blame him? But they managed to convince him to do the mouth-to-mouth resuscitation style, which is grabbing him by an ear and blowing in his mouth kind of thing, mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. But Goldust didn't do that, did he? Because if you go back and watch the clip, it was on an episode of Raw, the old school Raw, back in the early days. They grabbed him, and basically Goldust just basically kissed him right there and then. And it kind of made it look like it was a mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, but you could see when you look back on it, he basically just full-on kissed him. And Ahmed was pissed. And Ahmed left that barricade, that damn stretcher, and was looking for Goldust, and he wanted to beat the living piss out of him. He just searched the entire building looking for Goldust. But Goldust, probably doing the smartest thing he's ever done, was getting out of there while he still could. Because the minute that angle took place, he fucked off. And who can blame him? And like I said, Ahmed won the Intercontinental Championship. He beat Goldust 1-2-3 at the pay-per-view. And it was supposed to be the biggest, probably the biggest thing he did in WWE at that point. Probably the biggest thing he did in his wrestling career besides winning the Kuwaiti Cup. Less said about that, the better. But winning the Intercontinental Championship is more important than winning some stupid cup. There's no question about that. But after it, he was meant to go and party, got his bags and everything, went back to his car, and found a racial slur keyed in on his car. A message that was not very nice. And justifiably so, he was pissed. The only sad thing about this is the culprit who was responsible for that did not get found. Did not get found. Hope you guys are keeping up with me on this. There's a lot to get through on this. I've got 2 more to go. Austin 316 was born before Austin's final match because Austin came back from the hospital and Michael Hayes got word to Austin about the promo that Jake did earlier on in the show about his religious background and the newly religious-born Jake the Snake Roberts. You know, how he found Christianity and how he found this religion and everything. And Austin just basically came up with the 316 slogan right there and then, and that's how you got that awesome promo that he cut. That Austin 316 says, "I'm going to whip your ass." And that's how he sold basically over 100 million t-shirts. Or maybe 1 million t-shirts in general. I don't know. But I think it was 1 million. I'm pretty sure it was 1 million. There's no question about that. But he's the biggest draw in wrestling. There's no question about it. I don't care what anybody says. Hulk Hogan's probably jealous of him, how many t-shirts he sold, quite frankly. And number 1 was Bulldog did not like the way his wife was being used in the angle with him and Shawn Michaels. Now, there was an angle with him and Shawn Michaels leading into King of the Ring for the WWE Championship. And the idea was that Diana was meant to go to Shawn and flirt with him and try and make it out that Shawn fancies her and everything, and then go back to Bulldog and tell Bulldog about a shit ton of lies, how, "Oh, Bulldog, Shawn did this to me and Shawn did that to me and this and this," you know, getting falsely accused is what basically it was. And apparently Bulldog did not like the angle. Apparently Bulldog did not like the way his wife was being used. And you know what? I don't blame him. Because if that had been my wife, I'd have been pissed. And they did the match. They had the match at the King of the Ring. They did the angle and everything. And I know very well because Owen was at ringside. And I think that's what led to a supposed 6-man tag with the Warrior, Ahmed Johnson, and Shawn Michaels going into the next In Your House show against Vader, Owen Hart, and the Bulldog. But it ended up being not the Warrior, because the Warrior got pulled out, and I think Sid Justice or Psycho Sid jumped in, which led to that epic moment on Raw. But yeah, Bulldog did not like the way his wife was being used in this angle, and like I said, quite rightly so, and he was that angry about it, he actually had talks with WCW. He was open to offers from WCW, and I think WCW ended up making him some offers going into that. And you know what? I don't blame him for doing that. I really don't blame him for doing that. And he did not go because he was around for the Montreal Screwjob. So he obviously, whatever offers that were made from WCW, he obviously didn't accept them, and he decided to give WWE another chance. But he ended up going to WCW eventually, and I don't think that was until around about mid-1998. Mid to late 1998, he ended up going. Because I remember his first match on Nitro was against Steve McMichael, Mongo. Because Mongo cut a promo and he just walks out and challenges him to a match. And that's how Bulldog was in WCW at that point as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was the top 10 of the King of the Ring fascinating facts. Let's get right into Raw and SmackDown, shall we? Let's start with Raw. Let's go through with Monday Night Raw first, as we always do. Kicked off with Roman Reigns coming out to do a promo. And he was jumped by Braun Strowman and put in an ambulance. Maybe that's a sign of things to come. I'll get to that more in a second. Finn Balor and the Hardy Boys went up against the new pop group, or new rock group, called Eli Sampson, Cesaro, and Sheamus. And it was a good 6-man tag. Okay for what it was. Very weird start to it, with Eli Sampson in the ring playing his guitar with Sheamus and Cesaro either side of him. But yeah, it was a good 6-man tag. Really enjoyed it for what Raw has been lately. And Finn Balor won. Balor won. Hardy Boys won it. Twist of Fate on the outside by Matt on Sheamus. Everybody else was out the way. And Finn pinned Cesaro after hitting him with his finishing move. Goldust attacked R-Truth. More fuel to the fire in this feud. It was meant to be a one-on-one match, but Goldust... I think R-Truth spent more time worried about the cameraman that was in the ring. I thought, sorry, boom, just beat the hell out of him there and then. I don't know where that feud's going, by the way. The Goldust R-Truth feud. I don't know where it's going. Will it be kickoff show, I would imagine? I would imagine that will be on the kickoff show of Great Balls of Fire. If not Great Balls of Fire, maybe SummerSlam, depending on how they're going with it. Or hell, they might even just say, sod it, don't put it on pay-per-view, let's make a match on Raw, which, to be honest with you, would be the better option. After a confrontation with Levi, this basketball player who came down in Miz TV, Miz and the Miztourage, which is Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas, I'm actually glad. As weird as this group is, I'm actually glad they're getting some TV time. I do not like Bo Dallas. I'm not really that big on Curtis Axel, but I'm glad they're getting some TV time. And by the way, Curtis Axel called Levi embarrassing on Twitter as well. But the Miz and the Miztourage were not embarrassing because they managed to beat Dean Ambrose, Heath Slater, and Rhino in a 6-man tag. It was okay. It wasn't better than the first 6-man tag, but it was okay. Seth Rollins demolishes Kurt Hawkins. Yawn. Poor Seth. And by the way, he got interrupted by Bray Wyatt too. More fuel to the fire in that feud. Big Cass attacks Enzo Amore again, even though he lured him into a trap and then went up to the ramp area and just clotheslined him, and then basically picked him up in a press slam and just threw him down the ramp. I'm going to enjoy Big Cass's big singles run. I hope he gets what he deserves, man. He really does. I just wish he'd go to Smackdown and kick the hell out of James Ellsworth. But that's another issue for another day. Cruiserweight champion Neville defeats Lince Dorado with Tozawa watching at ringside. And apparently it's going to be Tozawa and Neville at the pay-per-view. Thanks to Titus O'Neil and the Titus brand. The highlight of the whole show was Paul Heyman doing an interview saying that Brock Lesnar was going to call out Samoa Joe for a fight. Samoa Joe grabbed out of Heyman, didn't choke him out, just warned him. And Samoa Joe actually beat Brock Lesnar to it because Brock Lesnar came out to the rampway, coming down the aisle, looking to call out Samoa Joe for a fight. After Paul Heyman introduced him, and then Joe attacks him from behind and locks in the Kikita clutch, or the Kikita clutch. And we managed to see something very first on Monday Night Raw, ladies and gentlemen. A purple-faced beast. Because Joe choked the living hell out of Lesnar to the point where his face turned bright purple. Just adds more fuel to the fire, and it makes my mouth water. Then in a couple of weeks it's going to be Great Balls of Fire, and I'm very much looking forward to that match. Samoa Joe, Brock Lesnar. There's rumours that it's going to be Samoa Joe may very well win this match. I don't see it, but you may very well win this match. But there's rumours that it's going to be Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, even though it's been going around that it's going to be Brock and Strowman at SummerSlam. But I think people are eyeing, or the WWE is eyeing, more of a Roman Reigns versus John Cena match at WrestleMania. You know, because I saw a photograph on Facebook the other day where it said WrestleMania 18, Rock to Hogan, then the WrestleMania match with Rock to Cena, and now it's going to be maybe WrestleMania 34, Cena to Roman Reigns. We shall see, though. And Sasha Banks won the main event, which was the women's gauntlet, to challenge Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's title. Great Balls of Fire. I'm in two minds about this match, because Nia Jax pretty much started the match, dominated, eliminated everybody, including Bayley. and won the pay-per-view, and basically won, and it came down to her and Sasha Banks, and then Sasha Banks comes out last, chokes her out with the bank statement, pretty much strangles her, but, chokes her out with the bank statement, makes a tap, and then she goes on to win. Now, I don't have no problem with Sasha Banks being the #1 contender for the Women's Championship, but in a way, that kind of made Nia Jax look foolish, in my mind, because she dominated the gauntlet match, only to get eliminated by the end. I'm in two minds about it. I don't have a problem with Sasha challenging Alexa Bliss, but that kind of, in a way, not a lot, but in a way, hurt Nia. Kind of thing. I mean, that's a debatable question and a debatable thing, no doubt, but it kind of did in my mind. But, Sasha Banks, at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, is going to Great Balls of Fire to challenge the Women's Champion. Smackdown, ladies and gentlemen. Okay Raw, by the way. Not the best Raw. Not that Raw is being the best lately. But it was an okay. A few things here and there that I couldn't give two flying fucks about, but it is what it is. Smackdown, ladies and gentlemen. The Punjabi prison match was announced as well by Jinder Mahal. Daniel Bryan came out to start it with a promo, welcoming everybody into the match and everything, and permanently banning James Ellsworth from the arena, not just the match. The Usos defeated the Hype Bros and then got a rude awakening from the New Day. And I'm swearing to you right now, guys, the New Day will be the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, if not at Battleground at SummerSlam. It's going to be either one of them pay-per-views. New Day's been tipped to be next in line for a tag team title run with the SmackDown Tag Team titles. I don't know where that leaves the Hype Bros. I probably have to agree with people because there's a lot of people that I talk to and I've come across on Facebook and Twitter and whatnot that I've come across saying that it's going to be Zack Ryder heel turn. I can see that. SmackDown Women's Champion defeats Lana again. Naomi versus Lana. I would prefer the Money in the Bank match, if I'm being honest with you, because I thought Lana put on a good performance on that one. This one, she didn't do that good. They made it out to be her performance at Money in the Bank being a fluke, which was not good. Randy Orton caused chaos and called out Jinder Mahal, and like I said, Jinder Mahal came out and answered the call, thanks to Shane McMahon granting Randy Orton his rematch. And it's going to be Randy Orton, Jinder Mahal in a Punjabi prison match. Yes, it's back, ladies and gentlemen. 10 years away, it's back. A lot of people are not down with this, to be honest with you, but at least we haven't got Great Khali in this match. But I'm interested in seeing what happens. What will happen, we'll only find out at Battleground. Baron Corbin finally gets some retribution against Sami Zayn. Okay match, but, that was mainly what it was about, giving Baron Corbin some retribution. And Carmella wins Miss Money in the Bank to become, or wins the Money in the Bank ladder match to become Miss Money in the Bank. Despite James Ellsworth coming down and almost ruining it again, thank you, Becky Lynch, I think Carmella earned it this time around. She actually went up there herself and got the briefcase, not having Dippy do it for her. So, yeah, I've got no problem with it this time around. Carmella is Money in the Bank, deal with it. Hopefully, Becky will get what she wants, because apparently, according to social media, Becky Lynch has called out James Ellsworth for SummerSlam. I would pay to see that match just for the fact that I want to see Becky Lynch beat the living dog out of James Ellsworth. Somebody needs to do it. I wish Big Cass will get transferred over to SmackDown, and be with his girlfriend and just boot James Ellsworth in the face. But anyway, that's another issue for another day. But there you have it, guys. That was SmackDown versus Raw. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And you know what, guys? Let's do it. Let's do some early predictions for Great Balls of Fire. Why not? Why not? Let's do it. The Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view. I would imagine, as I'm doing this, there's going to be more matches down the road. So I would imagine there'll be a lot more matches booked in for this. So let's do it. We have, at the moment right now, we have 4 matches from what I'm seeing. There might be some more, and yep, actually, no, I stand corrected. 5 matches. Cruiserweight Champion Neville versus Tozawa, like it was booked on Raw. I think Neville's going to retain that. I can't see Tozawa winning. Alexa Bliss, Sasha Banks, Women's Championship. I'm predicting, I would probably say Alexa Bliss on this one. I can see Alexa Bliss losing her title at SummerSlam. I think they're going to save this championship run and have her lose it at SummerSlam, in my opinion. So I don't know who's going to take it from her, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. Seth Rollins, one-on-one with Bray Wyatt. I think Seth Rollins is going to win this one, to be honest with you. I won't be disappointed if Bray Wyatt wins. I will not be disappointed whatsoever if Bray Wyatt wins. But I could see Seth Rollins winning this one, to be honest with you. Just keeping that momentum going. Because I think somewhere down the road he's going to get a title shot. Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman in the ambulance match. Because despite what rumours are saying, it's going to be Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. I'm kind of praying they go the other way and have Braun Strowman win this match. But my prediction overall is Roman Reigns. Based on the rumours. I hope they go the different way. I hope they prove me wrong and go with Braun Strowman, but I just see it happen. It's going to be Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. To be honest with you, I'd rather see Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam than Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. And apparently they want the WWE Universal Champion now to be a part of the team, not a part-timer. They want him to go to house shows. They want him to go to places like that. So who better than Roman Reigns? Speaking of the Universal Championship, it's going to be Brock Lesnar, Samoa Joe. I already did a prediction of this on my Games Matter channel. And I'm going with Brock Lesnar on this one. I see Samoa Joe being the champion, but not right now. Not right now. Maybe he'll be next in line to take it from Roman Reigns. That would be good. I wouldn't mind that whatsoever. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. But all in all, Brock Lesnar beats Samoa Joe at Great Balls of Fire in the main event. And I'll tell you this right now, don't expect a wrestling match. It's going to be a full-on fight. If there's any wrestling in there, I will probably be surprised. But there you have it, guys. That's the end of that. Let's get right into Ring of Honor Best in the World review. Let's do it. Right, the show kicked off with a great match to kick it off, actually. A Lucha Rules tag team match. It was El Terrible and Ultimo Guerrero taking on the Kingdom. Hold for hold to start off with. It was a great tag team match. Hold for hold stuff. Great stuff as well. Orion tries to get involved, which is the third member of the Kingdom who got injured in that brutal injury where he broke his... They say he broke his leg. I think he just broke his shin, quite frankly, from what I saw on the injury anyway. And he hit Guerrero, but him hitting Guerrero with the crutch just made Guerrero mad, quite frankly. And it was good. Some good tag team wrestling in this match. And not bad considering it was Lucha Rules, which is CMLL rules, which means if one member of the team goes outside, the other member is legal in the ring. Doesn't need a tag. If you go outside the ring, your tag team partner is the legal man in, kind of thing, which I don't know about that, but it is what it is. Guerrero and Terrible were dominating the match, but Kingdom were picking their spots. I think the Kingdom had the advantage in terms of experience. There's no question about that. Some amazing dives in the match. CMLL legends, Guerrero and Terrible, were dominating the match. That's why Kingdom were picking their spots, or at least trying to anyway, but the legends were doing their thing, if you will. Terrible grabs Taven in a tug of war, which allowed Guerrero to pin Vinny, the tag team partner of Taven and Guerrero and Terrible, get the victory in what was a good match. In what was a brutal match, a grudge match, which was a strap match, quite frankly, didn't turn into a strap match. It was a strap match in terms of Kazarian and Hangman Page. It was slow to start off with. A great slingshot Hurricane Rana as well to start it off. It was like a slow pace kind of start. And like I said, Kaz did a slingshot Hurricane Rana on the outside. Thing of beauty. It really was. Both men fighting outside the ring. There was no rules in this match. It was a strap match, but you know, both men would fight. If there was going to be some wrestling in this match, it wasn't going to last. There's no question about that. Both men were whipping the hell out of each other in this match also. It was a whipping match, no question about it. You know, Page ties up Kaz in the ropes and everything and starts unloading on him with the belt and everything. And then Page he gets Kaz down and he pulls a belt out which had thumbtacks on it. Thumbtacks and stuff like that, which was brutal. And it looked brutal. And then Page uses it as well. And don't get me wrong, Kaz used it as well. And if you saw Kazarian's Twitter account during the show, he posted up pictures of the after effects of using that belt in that strap match. And let's just say they weren't pretty. And let me tell you, it wasn't a pretty back, let me tell you. It was full of, you know, cut open, you know, spots, courtesy of the thumbtacks and everything. It just didn't look good. I even wrote on it, holy shit, because it did look brutal. And then Kaz manages to get Page in like a position using the bottom rope and just basically just chokes him out. Like I said, there was no rules, no 5 count, no rope breaks, no nothing. Just basically chokes him out. And you could see Page's face turning purple and everything. Basically, Kaz just strangled him. You could say that. And Page taps out and Kaz wins the grudge match. 8-man tag team war, which saw Search and Destroy, which is Jonathan Gresham, Jay White, and the Motor City Machine Guns taking on the Rebellion. Caprice Coleman, the All Night Express, Rep Titus, and Kenny King, and Shane Taylor. Great match. Great 8-man tag match. Chaos starts the match, and then Cole and Gresham managed to get it under control. Some great teamwork from Search and Destroy in this match. Some great teamwork from the All Night Express as well. Action-packed stuff. Everyone taking shots at each other, you know, taking turns, you know, to do their moves and everything, to do their spots in the match. Coleman with 3 Northern Lights suplexes, which was Eddie Guerrero style, but except it was the Northern Lights suplex. Gresham shows heart because the Rebellion had him cornered, just literally beating the hell out of him, but Gresham wouldn't quit. Both teams were fighting for survival because whoever lost had to disband. A miscue on the shooting star press neckbreaker, which Gresham, Saban had the neckbreaker combo. He does like a neckbreaker thing, and usually it's Shelley who jumps off the top rope to do the splash kind of move. Well, Gresham decided to do a shooting star press as well. And you could see it in the match. He whacks his face on the knee. It was a miscue because he whacked his face on the knee, but still manages to get a 2 count out of it. And then Gresham makes Titus tap in the octopus, and the Rebellion is no more. And Punishment Martinez comes out and destroys Search and Destroy and takes out White as well. That feud is not over yet. More on that later. Another grudge match, which saw Jay Lethal one-on-one with Silas Young. Both men fought on the outside. Lethal suplexes Young in the guardrail, which was brutal in its own right. Great match. Great wrestling as well. Hold for hold stuff in the ring when it eventually got into the ring, but this was too personal. Absolutely too personal. Lethal did his dives, the 3 dives, but on the third one he dives right into a chair. It was back and forth stuff. It could have gone either way, this match, but Silas rolls up Jay Lethal. The referee got knocked down or knocked woozy. He took his time, got a 2 count out of it. Lethal counters it and gets the victory. And then Silas attacks Young Silex attacks Lethal after the match, and Bruiser comes down and basically frog splashes him, 300-pound man off the top rope, frog splashes him through the table to the outside. End of discussion on that one. But in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think that feud's far from over. I don't think that there's going to be... I could see that being a cage match down the road. When, I don't know, but that feud is not over by a long shot. Not over by a long shot. In what was the shocking moment of the night, which saw Dalton Castle and the boys challenge Briscoes and Bully Ray for the six-man tag team titles, in a match that had a story where Jay was more worried about getting his hands on the boys after what they did in Philadelphia than worrying about keeping his six-man tag team titles. The mind games from Dalton, a lot of mind games. Bully mocks him, the boy won, kicks Jay where it hurt, kicked him in the legs. That's what they were doing. It was like a hit-and-run mentality with the boys. Because I don't think they're really wrestlers, if I'm being honest with you. Unless they're being built to have that mentality, just a hit-and-run kind of thing. Because Dalton is the wrestler out of their group and everything. And outside, Bully Ray, you got Jay Briscoe trying to chase the boys. And then you've got Bully Ray coming in, trying to control Jay. And meanwhile, back in the ring, Dalton Castle rolls up Mark Briscoe to win the six-man tag team titles. Yes, you heard me correct. A betting nightmare, ladies and gentlemen. A bettor's office nightmare, because I don't think many people betted on Dalton Castle and the boys to win the six-man tag team titles, and they did it. And it shocked the world. Probably the biggest upset in Ring of Honor's history. Definitely the biggest upset in the six-man tag team titles history as well. Definitely. Kushida versus Marty Scurll for the Ring of Honor TV title. Scurll working the shoulder. Great hold-for-hold wrestling in this match for the time they had, at least. It was about 15, maybe 20-minute match as well. Great hold-for-hold wrestling. Scurll trying to work the arm and shoulder joint of Kushida as well, which is kind of what he can do as well. But I think Scurll was trying to do it so he can lock on that chicken wing as well. It was wrestling match. Matty Shones, slowing down Kushida, and he really was slowing him down, at least trying to anyway. And I think he dominated most of the match, in my opinion. It was a great match, great counters, hold-for-hold stuff. Beautiful match to watch. Like I say, for the time they had, which was about 15, maybe 20 minutes. And Kushida gives Marty a taste of his own medicine, which he bends the fingers back. This was them sitting on the top rope area. He breaks the fingers, hits a Back to the Future off the top rope, and then hits it again for good measure and retains the belt. Which, that's why there wasn't that much in the match, because it was, it was going to be kind of predictable, because Kushida, he's only just won the Ring of Honor World TV title, and they weren't going to give him it back to Marty, yet, at least. I think Marty will probably get it back, but tonight wasn't, Best in the World was not that night. Now for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. Young Bucks, War Machine, and the Best Friends. Yes, it was meant to be Young Bucks versus the War Machine, but the Best Friends, which is Trent Beretta from Roppongi Vice and Chucky T, came out and basically put up a good point that they did have a pinfall victory over the Young Bucks. So they decided, they challenged them to make it a three-way, and they did. And it was turned into a tornado tag. It wasn't like a normal tag match. It was just a tornado tag match. Basically, all three teams just going at it. Tooth and nail, back and forth. Great double team wrestling. Action part. Hard to keep up, because BJ Whitmer couldn't keep up with it, neither could I, quite frankly. And the ending was very funny. And by the way, the highest spot of the match, Chucky T doing a running dive from the stage area to the aisle area. The big stage, stairs coming down it. Chucky T dives from there onto everybody, which was just a thing of beauty as well. Great double team wrestling, like I say. Young Bucks hit the Indie Taker, which War Machine had Chucky T and Trent Beretta in a power slam position. Young Bucks, pretty sure it was Matt Jackson, hits the Indie Taker on both of them. And then they both get back up, and then super kick the War Machine, and then cover Best Friends to win the tag belts and retain them even. It was an awesome match, back and forth stuff, too hard to call, too hard to even keep up as well, but the Young Bucks proved why they are the best tag team on the planet. Because not only are the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, yes, they are the Super Kick Party Tag Team Champions as well. Also, they are the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions as well. Go back and watch their match against Roppongi Vice at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Dominion. Excuse me. Anyway, Ring of Honor World Championship, which saw a great match between Chris Daniels and Cody Rhodes. Back and forth match, dominated mostly by Chris Daniels, I felt, in this match. Feeding out process to begin with, Cody slowing Daniels down, having problems with his lip because he busted his lip open, which after the match he had to go into the hospital straight after the match to get it sorted out. And that wasn't pretty, let me tell you. It wasn't pretty whatsoever. Like I said, feeling out process, double jump, top rope, arm drag from Cody Rhodes. Thing of beauty, really was. And he does that with a disaster later on as well. The agility on that guy is incredible. It really is. Marty then comes down, hands the chair to Cody, but then Daniels grabs the chair and does an Eddie Guerrero impersonation and almost beats Cody with it as well. And then Cody hits a cutter. Kaz eventually comes down to fight off Marty Scurll and chase him to the back. Like I said, top rope disaster kick by Cody as well. The springboard, double jump, top rope disaster kick, which hits him beautifully. Daniels hits a belly to back through a table on the outside, which Cody had set up off the apron, by the way. It was the belly to back suplex off the apron through a table. Thing of beauty. Great match for the time they had as well. Cody getting some heat. I think he grabbed Curry Silken at one point as well. And then Cody counters the Angel's Wings, misses the disaster kick, but counters the roll-up and hits the Crossroads to win the Ring of Honor World Championship, despite Enric Cavani's biased commentating. Yeah, should have had that guy. He did not want Cody to be the champion. He did not want Cody to be the champion. But Cody Rhodes is the new Ring of Honor World Champion, and I couldn't be thrilled. I couldn't be more thrilled for the guy. He deserves it. He is the #1 wrestler on my list in the indie circuit right now. The guy can do no wrong for me. He's so good. It's not even funny. It should be illegal how good he is. It really is. But it's just phenomenal to watch. And hopefully he's doing now what Drew Galloway did. You know, go away a couple of years, reinvent yourself, then come back and come back stronger in WWE as well. So hopefully that can happen as well. And hopefully this is his way of proving to WWE, hey, I could be a world champion too. Because he's at the moment right now, he's proven there is life after WWE. Will he come back? I hope so. And I hope they just let him be Cody Rhodes. Because the start of this gimmick fell flat, quite frankly. It was good at first, and then it went straight down to there as well. It just didn't work. But all in all, great show by Ring of Honor, great show by ROH, the best in the world pay-per-view. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. Just go and watch it. Was it better than New Japan? No. But it was a great show nonetheless as well. I'll run down the Ring of Honor TV show as well. Sorry, couldn't think I was talking about that. Ring of Honor TV show as well. We saw Jonathan Gresham beat Flip Gordon as well. Check out Sunday Segway's interview with him as well. Also, Silas Young beats Bobby Fish in probably what it was his last match in Ring of Honor, because, spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Fish is now in NXT. He's signed with NXT. He has still got the name Bobby Fish as well, but he's signed now with NXT, so Bobby Fish is no longer in Ring of Honor. He's now in NXT. Little spoiler for you there. And Jay White, once again, beats Punishment Martinez despite getting chokeslammed through a table after the match as well. I know, breaking news this past Friday as well. Yeah, Friday, June 30th. As of Friday, June the 30th, Gunner is now in NXT as well. Gunner, the guy who is the security guard for Immortal, former TNA World Tag Team Champion with James Storm. He's now in NXT. Almost said Ring of Honor there. because I've got Ring of Honor on my mind doing the Best in the World review. But there you have it, guys. That about wraps it up for this episode of the podcast. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. A little something different to the podcast. Hope you guys have enjoyed this as well. If you want more information on the Wrestling Matters podcast, facebook.com/WM podcast, at WM podcast on Twitter. Give us a like, give us a follow. youtube.com/ADW Wrestling Matters. Look us up on SoundCloud. Look us up on Radio Big World as well. Look them up on SoundCloud. And my name is Anthony Walker for the Wrestling Matters channel. Peace out, Wrestling Matters, and enjoy the week. Peace.